Hey guys, this is Andy Wilson, BustoPoker Pro, play as Bowie Effect on Stars, Clinton Baptiste on Party, and other various A-listers, Scott Steiner on GG. You might have played against me in some of the sites and some various tournaments. And here, I'm just here to talk about a fold I made in the Big 22 last week. The king of the bowls, a Big 22. I didn't have some funds on some sites, so I had to add some more stars tables. And we found ourselves back in the true grind tournament, the OG grind tournament. I'm just going to talk about a fold I made pre with kings, seemingly like incredible fold, but 20 something big steep. So just to replay the hand for you. I actually just recorded this video and I was apparently not recording the whole time, so that went great. So it folds to low jack, who raises to like 2.27 something big blinds, which is a bit on the bigger size. Generally his stack depth, he just haven't been raising, giving yourself the best price on the steal. Folds to me on the button, and at 20 big blinds you pretty much always want to trap kings and aces pre on the button, like as part of like a pretty, you're still finding like some 10% of hands on the button here. You still want to play a bunch of hands in position, middling pockets. Even like 10-8 suited, there's a bunch of suited kings, most suited aces, a bunch of the some of the offsuit broadways, some of the suited broadways are going to be doing either which between jam and bit of free betting, some calling, right? There's just kind of mix. There's a large mixed strategy that I'm going to go too in depth on. But anyway, we fight kings. At 20, we would always trap kings. At 25, we would do a bit more free betting, but we're only 20 with the opener, so I think we take him as more of the effective stack. And it folds to the big blind, who basically in his spot should be playing jam or call. There is like no categorically like a solver will just never free bet, none all in here. Which is what he decides to do. He decides to just click it to some really obnoxious, like 3.2x sizing, whatever this is. And the low jack, I remember in game, thinks about it before putting in his 20 so big blinds. I'm not really worried about the low jack, of course. I fold like kings, just kind of seemingly soul reading the big blind for aces, which is what he had. So there's a hand. I am going to quickly pull up one range converter solve that I have. I'm not going to show too much of this, of course, but I'm just going to quickly show you the big blind here, and show you that he's indeed just shoving or calling. This is against a 2.0 big blind open and a call. This is more like 2.2, so that you probably can't defend as wide as like king 3 off, and you probably have to pitch some of the worst suited stuff, and maybe the queen 5 and queen 6 probably go. The 9-5 off's certainly not to be a defend against like the 2.27 versus a min. But in any case, we're looking at the all in, and we can see it's just like kind of a linear shoving range with some 9x here that are folding out, dominating hands of the button flats and of the opens as well. A lot of people don't hit these shoves for obvious reasons, just from lack of study mainly. Anyway, so we're just going to see why we don't use a free bet not all in size. In theory, when playing against players that we respect. I mean, like obviously, if we're playing against complete moose, sheep, whatever you want to say about players, we can start using some free bet not all ins if they're like just not folding to free bets or yada yada. But he's using his typical ABC exploitative strategy against maybe like a population Big 22, which isn't the worst strategy in general, but if you've got someone that's a bit on the ball and knows what these strategies look like, you leave yourself room to be completely counter-exploited to the fact that jacks were really unhappy to put it in pre and kings folded. Meanwhile, if he just shoved pre, jacks would call and kings would overcall, and he just gets a lot. So yeah, this is what the strategy looks like. This is for 25. At 20, obviously, it looks exactly the same, if not a bit more so amplified, because there's just less big blinds behind. So yeah, that's that. And then we're just going to see why that is. So we're going to put in aces here. This is the low jack range, and this is my button flat. It's there or thereabouts. It's about 20% of hands. It's about 10% of hands. It's doing the job of demonstrating the point. So we're going to click here, just evaluate. We'll just evaluate up to 5%. We don't need to do like tons here. You can see here aces have got 75% freeways and isn't too concerned at all about going freeway. Which is obviously why you don't go all in with aces. Or he didn't go all in with aces. This is obviously like pretty evident. We can just knock this down to kings quickly. Let it enumerate. correctly. It's obviously still some way off right now. It will creep up a bit more, a bit more, a bit more. We can already see though. Let's see how far it goes for kings. Actually, it still should get to 60, I imagine. Not even. So we get to about 57. Okay, 58. Okay, it is going to get to about 60. I was going to say sub 60 is a bit surprising. Yeah, so we've hit the 60% mark. I don't think it'll go much higher than 60. Maybe a little. Yeah, so it should be about 60. Okay, so kings are 60%, which is already 15% less, just to know already. And now we're getting down to queens. These are still the top 3 hands in the game. Just to like put this into perspective. So we get to queens, and we should be somewhere in the 50s, but it's not going to be much above 50. I would imagine. Yeah, so we're already struggling to clear 50% here, and we have the third best hand in the game. The enumeration's going to be weird, but we're struggling to clear 50% here, and we're still at the third best hand in the game. Go down to jacks, and this is just gonna become quite evident what happens here. That like we end up playing aces in a vacuum, in this spot, potentially kings, but when you have kings, it's hard for him to have kings. So we're like sub 50 now with jacks, and you get the point. Obviously, if you go to ace king, that's just gonna. Well, I mean, we don't even have a pair with ace king, right? And we're gonna share cards, and the button's going to have pairs. I mean, ace king is just like kind of sharing equity with everything else. It's gonna have like an equity advantage just from the nature of the cards in its hand, but it's not gonna be huge. So we've just looked at jack to ace king there, and these are like the top hands. Never mind, and the problem is you can't just play aces and kings / bits of kings in a vacuum, which is why, as you saw, the solver was just shoving. So basically, you should just have it comes down to huge alarm bells when he doesn't shove. And so this is your BustoPoker Folding Kings checklist in 2020. And the question you could ask yourself basically is he a rot bag? And what are the symptoms you might ask of the rot bag? Shark scope here is generally your friend, or like some kind of hood read over like X amount of hands. ABR you might be looking in the 20s. It's grinding all the the bowl tournaments to make his hourly. It's fair enough if you do that, but like you've got to. But these are what we can look for in tendencies to exploit. His ROI is probably not going to be particularly high. You might be looking at like a few dollars a game. Face up tendencies, very transparent. He's just overlapping words, lack of study. I mean, all the classic symptoms. And then this guy kind of just ticked all the boxes really. And it led to us making something like quite a crazy fold here with kings. If I would go back, I would do it again. People might ask why if he has queens. We can kind of see the equity disparity between various hands there, and white players just almost certainly don't have kings in these spots, like these kind of types of players that you encounter in the Big 22 that are just grinding out a bowl living. So that's that. Thanks for watching. I will hopefully do some more of these in the future. Maybe some post-flop hands, and you can see some of the hands I play and what have you. So this is Andy for BustoPoker, and I'll catch you next time.